Norstedta's search for a cooperation partner in the U.S. has had its first payoff. First to go is ND Comtech, who signed an agreement with Microtech in Wichita, Kansas. Together with a company called Swedish Trade Data Management, Norstedta will supply a system for handling trade documentation. In commercial terms, this might turn out to be one of the most important events in Norstedta's history. Also in this issue, ND Report visits a new subsidiary. This time it is ND Finland. Their reception in the market is beyond all expectations. Additionally, this issue of ND Report reintroduces our snapshot section for News in Brief. And finally, we introduce a new regular section, the ND Visitor. This time our guest is very well known, but later you will also meet people who are a little bit less visible. First, however, to Comtech's attack on the USA.
Norsk Data's policy for stronger attacks on the US market is to form joint marketing agreements with American companies. Recently, the first of such agreements was signed with Microtech Incorporated concerning ND Comtech's integrated publishing systems, initially covering a 3-year period. According to the agreement, Microtech is granted exclusive rights for sale and support of Nortech systems to the US graphic industry. Microtech will also be holding licensing rights to our software, and under an OEM agreement, Microtech will buy equipment to substitute the CPUs in the current microsystems. ND Report asked Arne Bågbø to comment on the importance of the agreement for Norsk Data.
As we all know, the US market is the biggest market in the world for the graphic industry, and the size of the number of newspapers and commercial printers are enormous. We also know that the competitors we are facing here in Europe are mostly Americans. We hope that by entering the US market, we will be successful in the US market. We will also be not only getting turnover in the US, but it will also influence our reputation and our influence on the European market.
When can we expect to see the first US customer?
Microtech have today a very good relationship with some large groups of newspapers. They have a number of prospects that is asking for that type of system that we can supply. We hope, and I'm fairly convinced, that we within 3 or 4 months next year will have at least one pilot installation in the United States.
Microtech is headquartered in Wichita, Kansas, and has an excellent reputation as a supplier of microsystems to the US graphic industry. Microtech systems range from 6 to 40 terminals, and they are the dominant supplier of front-end systems for newspapers in the range of 6 to 16 terminals. Altogether, Microtech has some 800 systems installed in 33 countries worldwide. In the US, they have a customer base of about 600 companies. To give you an idea of the size of the US market, it is estimated that the combined volume of the segment's newspapers, commercial printers, and miscellaneous publishers approximates $550 million per year. As for numbers, there are about 1,700 daily newspapers, in addition to more than 7,100 weekly and special publication newspapers. About 70% of the dailies are group-owned. Microtech's market strategy for the Nortech system is first to move up from the current market among smaller newspapers to medium-sized and large newspapers. The second step will be to go for commercial printers, of which there are more than 36,000 in the US. During the initial 3 years of the agreement, it is anticipated that $50 million of revenues will be generated to Microtech and in excess of $30 million to Norsk Data. To get a view from the Microtech side, ND Report interviewed President Jacob Sorg. We apologize for the poor sound quality. Mr. Sorg, why did you choose to team up with ND Comtech?
For several reasons. Primarily, we teamed up with ND Comtech because of the similar philosophies that ND has with Microtech with regards to their product migration philosophy and to their customer service philosophy. It's a very close match to what we've been doing here at Microtech for several years. The other reason is it has an excellent reputation for a quality product in meeting the demands of the newspaper environment in Europe. And we feel that these same qualities can be successfully brought into the U.S. market.
So you're not afraid that taking a Norwegian computer system into the US market will be something like trying to export smoked salmon to Norway?
No. Although there's always a marketing concern and on the best way to approach overseas technology in the United States, not too many companies have been successful. In this particular case and in this market, the emphasis isn't on where the equipment was made, but on how the equipment operates, if it does the job for the customer, and more importantly, how is it serviced after the sale. And I believe that's why ND Comtech selected Microtech, because of our excellent reputation for after-sales support. Our objective is to make Norse Data Microtech a dominant force in the U.S. print industry.
Transport can be risky, like here on the ferry from Kiel in West Germany to Oslo, where 2 trucks have turned over. Transport is also expensive, especially when related to international trade. And the actual transport of goods from one place to another is only part of these costs. In addition comes a flow of information referred to as trade documentation. In cooperation with the Swedish Trade Data Management, or STDM, a subsidiary of the Swedish Export Council, Norse Data will now try to cut these costs through supplying a computer system for handling this trade documentation automatically.
What are the potential of the trade data management project for Norsk Data?
We estimate the potential number of customers for complete systems to be around 3,000 to 5,000 in Denmark, Finland, Sweden and Norway. In addition comes intelligent workstations and terminals for customers connected to some kind of service bureau. Of these, there should be about 20,000. We expect to reach between 50 and 80% of this potential.
Based on figures like these, even a moderate assessment seems to indicate a value of about 1.5 billion Norwegian kroner for Norse Data over the 3-year period. That is, in the absence of competition. Norse Data's role in the Trade Data Management project is to deliver the hardware to the application software developed by STDM.
What requirements have to be met by Norsk Data under the agreement?
In the actual agreement between Swedish Trade Data Management and Norse Data, we commit ourselves to offer competitive prices on the hardware, and we also commit ourselves to be market adapted in hardware technology.
To give you an idea of what is involved, ND Report visited our own forwarding agent.
Which documents are necessary for the exploitation of goods?
In addition to the invoice and goods certificate that we get from Norse Data, we always have to fill in a freight document or airway bill. These are documents that we get from the airlines and which, among other things, are equipped with their logo. In addition, we have to prepare a customs declaration on all goods above a certain value. That is, in nearly all cases for Norse Data. As these goods are so-called strategic goods, we always have to enclose a license of exportation.
In addition, there may be documents going to, for example, banks or insurance companies. Today, all of these basic documents have to be written separately. Then, the various copies have to be sorted manually before being sent to the proper authorities or being taken to the customs office. The Trade Data Management System will change all of this. Now, most information will be entered only once. The system will tell you which documents are needed for almost any country in the world and give advice on payment conditions, etc. The information from the order registration is moved directly into document definitions, and the finished documents and copies required are printed on a laser printer. But electronic creation of documents is only the first phase of the project. On a longer term, the intention is to introduce electronic transmission of documents, thereby doing away with paper documents altogether. The savings involved can be illustrated by a couple of figures. According to SwePro, a Swedish standardization agency, the cost of procedures related to trade documentation amounts to 4% of product value. It is further estimated that these costs could be cut to only 1% with a fully operational trade data management system. Knowing that the system was originally developed for Microvacs, ND Report also wanted to know why STDM had moved over to Norsk Data.
Ja, det är många skäl.
Actually, there are a lot of reasons for this. The first is that we already from the beginning wanted to find a Scandinavian cooperation partner on the hardware. As the project is based in Sweden, we thought it would be nice to have a partner from Scandinavia. The second reason is ND's obvious technical ability, which is on the level with all these world computer brands. The third reason is the enthusiasm we meet among all the employees we have met within Norsk Data, and which is a good base for further development of the system.
The trade data management system will be installed at a number of pilot customers from February and is expected to be for general sale by the fourth quarter of 1987. To start with, the system will only be sold in Scandinavia. The long-awaited Butterfly was released on October 29th of this year. The Butterfly workstation comes in 5 models, 2 of which are equipped with the ND110 PCX CPU, and all of which run both MS-DOS and Cinton operating systems. Thus, they bridge the gap between the PC and the mini-computer. With the exception of the low-end version, all models come with an enhanced graphic adapter interface for high-resolution color display. And of course, all models are equipped with a mouse pointing device for enhanced user efficiency. The Butterfly was also very much in focus at the 10th International Meeting of the Nord Computer User Society, or NOCUS, in Cannes between the 5th and 7th of November. It is reported that more than 600 participated in a program spanning from data communication to business graphics. Between the 1st and 8th of October, some 80,000 people visited the exhibition Kontur and Data 86 at the Bella Center in Copenhagen. ND Denmark's major objectives were to meet as many existing customers and hot prospects as possible. Besides succeeding in this, it is reported that they also attracted a large number of new possibilities. Excluding prospects with whom they had an appointment in advance, ND Denmark registered 275 visitors. Out of these, 100 were evaluated as good prospects and 75 as possibilities.
Norsk Data has been present in Finland since 1981. As our agent, Oi Papyrus, was specialized in the graphic industry, about 80% of our sales have been ND Comtech products. To begin with, our newly formed subsidiary will also concentrate its efforts on the graphic industry market.
Why did Norsk Data establish a wholly owned subsidiary in Finland?
I think Norsk Data already earlier has defined Finland to be one of the segments in the Scandinavian market and started up with via an agent in the early 80s. but the results of that was not on the level it was expected to be, so Norsk Data wanted to do it via its own subsidiary.
How has the new subsidiary been received in the market?
We have got a very good result during this starting up phase, and I think that already we are accepted on the graphic industry, and we also want to do that in some other narrow segments.
This statement must be a model example of the art of understatement. The fact is that while ND's market share in the Finnish graphic industry is around 7%, we have dominated the market since last summer. 5 major contracts have been closed and all have been given to ND Finland. ND Finland's most famous customer is probably Otava, the publishing house, which is now about to start selling the databases used for the encyclopedia production to schools, libraries, public authorities and commercial organizations. The major recent customer, however, is Kaleva, a newspaper published in Oulu, close to the Polar Circle.
Kaleva was founded in 1899 and even has a museum showing equipment used throughout its history. This is actually the desk of the first editor-in-chief. Today, Kaleva is the most important newspaper in middle and northern Finland, with a circulation of about 88,000 copies, 7 days a week.
Today, Kaleva uses Norsk Data equipment for ad handling and production. Ad sales with direct receipt of text and customer data take place over the phone or at the counter. After the text has been entered, the ad goes into production. Simultaneous invoicing, credit rating and statistical work is quickly done. Based on the contract with Kaleva, Oulu will also be the site for ND Finland's first service center outside Helsinki. ND Finland have 21 employees. Out of these, 3.5% is dedicated to sales of Nortech systems and 1 to sales of ND systems in general. The rest is in administration or various support functions, which are common to all market segments. When ND Report paid a visit in November, offices were still at Oi Papyrus, but if you sense a kind of breaking up atmosphere in this picture, you're right. By now, ND Finland will have moved into new offices, closer to the center of Helsinki, more conveniently located in relation to both the airport and the railway. These premises, which was at the last stage of preparation during our visit, will give lots of room for the expansion expected.
This year you have had sales of about 10 million Norwegian kroner, which is about 60–70% more than in the budgets. Still you are operating with a budget of
26
million Norwegian kroner next year, which is an increase of about
136%.
Do you think this is possible?
Yes, I'm very positive on this, and I'm very happy that we reached the budget of 86. And with these good results and with some excellent timing, I think that we also will reach the budget for 87.
Now the time has come to meet our first ND visitor. Besides being one of the founders of Norsk Data, Rolf Skår has occupied positions in research and development and marketing before being appointed as the president of the company in 1977.
ND Report invited Rolf to our studio to discuss some internal matters of current interest. Rolf, what is most fun? To work 24 hours a day to make the world's first 32-bit mini-computer, or to be the president of Norsk Data today?
Both activities were tremendously fun, and what I have found so interesting is that a person can adjust to these enormous variations in tasks. I must say that I really enjoyed to participate in getting the Node 5 running. I enjoyed the things I did afterwards, and I've enjoyed being president, and I don't want to go back.
Today we have a freeze in recruitment in Norsk Data. Why is that?
Well, that's pretty straightforward. We saw coming in the spring a loss of revenues this year compared to what was planned, basically coming from the Norwegian market, the home market. And since we will not get the revenues we were planning for, we had to do something with the costs. And the most practical way, the most easy way to handle that is to limit recruiting. And this means that this year we will add some 550 people instead of the 750 people previously planned. So it's not a complete freeze in employment. We are adding 550 people.
In an interview with Norwegian magazine, you said that it should be tougher to work in Norsk Data. What did you have in mind by that?
Well, it was not precisely what I said, but let's take that story. As some of you know, we started a program to get better. Part of that program was to invite critical customers to be critical about Norsk Data, so that we could learn from that. And as you also know, that leaked to the press, to the television. What I tried to say, and which I will repeat now, is that Norsk Data depends on two things: happy employees, satisfied employees, and also satisfied customers. It is not good enough to only have satisfied employees. And those employees who are not doing a good enough job to make our customers happy, they will have a tougher job, yes. We have to focus much more on what we're doing for our customers than what we're doing for ourselves. And the larger the company becomes, the more the danger is that we will have so much fun taking care of ourselves that we forget what is our real business, to make happy customers.
In another context, you said that salaries should be freezed in Norway, or at least increase a minimum. Do you think this also should go for Norsk Data?
Well, I've said, and I think all responsible people in Norway agree, that the present system is out of control. And all sincere people believe that, for example, a stop in the salary increases with the consequences of inflation and devaluation, that is not the best policy. For Norsk Data, this is less important than for the other companies in Norway, because our compensation is only determined by how well we are doing. Our compensation is split in two parts: salary and bonus, and the sum of the two which is important. So there is no way we can cheat. If the salaries is too high, the bonus will be lower, and vice versa. And in practice, our salary, our compensation only depends on how well we are satisfying our customer needs.
As far as I know, this is the first time it has been informed internally on the matters we just discussed. Does it mean that we have a problem to make the information pass through the organization?
Well, we have several ways to inform the employees. Sometimes we do it by writing a memo to all the employees, and sometimes we do not want to write a memo. We want to have the information being passed from the boss to his subordinates and further down the organization. And I guess there are cases where the ladder mechanism have not functioned properly, and maybe this is one example of that this information stopped on its way down to all employees.
And with these words, we conclude this issue of ND Report. The next issue, to be released in March, will be dedicated to the 20th anniversary of Norsk Data. See you then.